Heather McDonald has got the juicy scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Whoop whoop. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. Got lots of hot topics for you, and then I have a super juicy interview. So let's get right to it. Okay, you guys, here's some juicy news that came out of the Daily Mail yesterday. Paul, PK, mind you, my husband, is supposedly, according to the Daily Mail, Dorit here, he is going to get with Kyle's husband romantically. No, just kidding. They are going to supposedly do a reality show in London within a franchise of the agency. As you know, that is Mauricio's very successful real estate firm, and also film it. And apparently, according to the Daily Mail, PK, mind you, used to own buildings and real estate, and he really has his eye on investments and brick and mortar and apartment buildings and beautiful estates. And the two of them just get along famously, mind you. They have such a laugh. They have such a go at each other that we decided, why not do a reality show in London? I honestly don't know how this would work. LA to London is about what? 16-hour flight or 14-hour flight? You got to go to New York and then another 8 hours, right, to London. So, you know, they still have Portia at home. Of course, she has little kids. They've got Beverly Hills Housewives. I just don't know how physically they could do this show. I think it's a great idea. It's something I want to watch. So I don't know if this is true or if they're throwing the seeds out there to see if then they get a buzz and people like Heather McDonald from Juicy Scoop talk about it. And then the network does say, okay, we'll do something fun. So 10.5 hours. Peter is, God, does he like to work out a proper flight schedule for someone? One time he was following Jen Kirkman, who hopefully I will get in here now because she's waxed and vaxxed as well. And he could not stop obsessing over her poor choice of how she got to the comedy club that she was going to. And then there was like a flight issue. And then he's like, why would she ever go that way? It's just... I'm telling you, a 4-hour conversation ensued, to the point I finally called her and was just like, can we offer Peter his services? Because I literally can't take it anymore. Anyway, Peter just said to me, because he's into this shit now, he goes, isn't it against the rules of Bravo to be posting your entire thing that you're filming? Don't they want some secrecy? And I noticed a couple posts yesterday that people said, I feel like we know exactly what's going on in Turks and Caicos with the All-Star Housewives. Like, what more is the show going to show? And I do think a lot of their time must be spent in the day taking hundreds of photos of each other, because they do look gorgeous. The things they're shooting, they look great. Their outfits are great. It's perfectly lined up in the light. We all know, because we all take pictures of ourselves, those things take time. How much time can you enjoy on the boat when you're posing and then you have to take photos of the other girl? And the rumors are, though, that Ramona and Kenya already got in a physical altercation. And then the other rumor is who's going to be the surprise all-star that shows up halfway through the 8-day trip or on day 8. I don't know if the whole thing is 2 weeks or 1 week. I don't know. And it's rumored to be Tamra, Nene, or Lisa Rinna. Originally, it was rumored to be Jill Zarin. I don't think that's happening. I talked to her. I can't believe that she'd keep the secret from me. But my God, that'd be amazing if she showed up. Hello, it's Jill Zarin. Where are we getting our pedicures and manicures? So we'll see what happens. But I think it's because this show is going to be on Peacock, which is their streaming service. It's been around for a while, but I think they know that the Housewife fans will sign up for Peacock to watch this show. So I think it's kind of brilliant marketing. And I think by letting the girls just go hog wild with their Instagram and share about it, it's going to get people that much more likely to start watching on Peacock. So I don't hate the idea. The episode aired. I have seen a screener. Don't mean to brag. I'm also getting a screener of Shaw's The Sunset, and I've been talking to MJ, so hopefully that show will be bringing the juice this season. And, we saw that Ramona Singer, is going to supposedly have an issue with Ebony. But in this one interview, she says, yes, she goes, in the in the preview, you see that I used the wrong word, help. I used the word help, and then she educated me that is very triggering for her, and I should not use the help when I talk about the people who help with my cleaning and things. And, I know everyone just can't stand Ramona sometimes, but I am like, can we just talk about, she's 64 years old, okay? The last season, she got in trouble by saying, oh my God, look at all the servants we've had. I don't think I've ever gone to a vacation house that has this many servants at my beck and call. I really love it. Really makes me feel special. And then they're like, Ramona, you're not supposed to call the people working in the home servants. So then in her mind, she's probably like, oh my God, I get all my help mixed up. She probably thinks the help is a better word because she's like, I'm not calling them servants. But then there was a book called The Help, and that's what they used to call people that worked in the home in the South. So then there's some maybe unfortunate racial negativity there. I don't know. I mean, I just can't wait for next season. Ramona's trying to ask someone to help her sweep her floor or something. And she's like, so the girl that occasionally comes to my home, who I oftentimes pay. She's a very dear friend of mine. We are on the exact same page about everything in life. I don't feel like I'm up here. I don't feel like she's down there, though she is down there cleaning my floors. She is I like to call her a maintenance, expertise, lifestyle branding partner who comes over and helps me with things that take place with inside the walls of my home. It's just going to be, she's just not going to know what to say. And to be quite honest, I kind of feel for her because I don't really know. Can you still say housekeeper? What can you say? We all know what happened to Rachel Hollis. Her life's over with. A very juicy article came out about her in the New York Times today. And now apparently she was supposed to do this big conference in May. Now, Rachel Hollis, let me remind you, she is this girl who kind of went the Christian route, but had all these books. Girl, wash your face. Girl, get out of bed. Girl, get divorced. Girl, I don't know. And she made $20 million a year. She went from 10 employees to 60. And she said she did a very unfortunate thing. She went crazy with the eyebrows. People are going crazy with the eyebrows. Big black thing, literally like she took a marker and put on her eyebrows. And she did a TikTok video saying that someone gave her shit for having a housekeeper. I'm going to say housekeeper. I don't know if you can still say housekeeper, whatever, come after me. But then the way she addressed it was, she's like, and that I'm not relatable. And then she said her whole thing, I talked about it, but she didn't come off well. She came off very, privileged, very in doing it. She's like, yeah, I pay a woman who cleans my toilets, and she loves cleaning those toilets twice a week. It was just a little do we have to mention the toilets? It was just... Anyway, so they said they had this big conference that was going to happen in May because of the pandemic. It was scheduled just 100 people in person, but only 2,000 had signed up online. When the last pandemic virtual tour she had, 100,000 signed up online. So is she truly someone, because I feel a lot of people cancel people, say I'm done with people, and then you say, oh, of their 8 million followers, they lost 100,000 followers on Instagram. She's done. And you're like, really? I mean, that's not that big of a deal. So I'm kind of curious what will happen. Anyway, they moved the conference to Labor Day, which I think is a pretty good idea. They did not comment on the New York Times article. And I think that, let's see, will people go back to buying her kind of bullshit? I don't know. I'm curious. Everyone, all the juicy scoopers that used to follow her or tried her book have reached out to me. I don't know one person that's like, I don't care. I still love her. She still gets me up in the morning, keeps me motivated. I don't know. Because, then she got divorced and her whole thing was about having a fabulous marriage. And so people kind of felt a little deceived in that when they spent, thousands of dollars on marriage encounter weekends with she and her husband, who now he's with somebody else that's somewhat of a famous person, and just posting all over their love and their happiness. So Also, she blamed the whole thing on her team. So the team's probably like, fuck you. We're not doing this May conference. Anyway, moving on. The Bachelor, Matt. He was seen caught with Rachel again, who was his pick, who then he sat next to in front of the guy on the final rose. I forgot his name, the one that took Chris Harrison's spot for that night, and he said, is there any hope here? And he said, no, there's not. Well, is there anything you want to say to her? Do you want to hug her? He's like, no, she's got to do the work. She's got to do the work. And she's like, I'm trying to do the work. I've watched some movies. I'm reading some books, and I'm trying to do the work. I don't know what the work is. Maybe I need help. Wait, no, don't use the word help. I don't know. Anyway, he was calling her, according to sources. She came out to New York. He was also seeing another person that he was talking to. That person revealed it. Now they were seen in Orange County and Newport together. He has now finally said, oh, this is him. Here's a photo. I have photos of him on here. He's down on the ground doing the signal. I don't know, the two fingers up. I don't even know what that means. He's trying to act, like he looks and acts like a totally different person than we saw on the show. The guy that was wearing the crop jackets, the turtlenecks, the Lululemon pants, the giggling, the touching his mom's leg. I don't know where that guy is. Now he's got a beard and he's like angry and quiet, but he's still in love with Rachel, which I think is, hey, if that's who you like. He finally couldn't avoid it anymore. He went to people and he said, yes, he is officially pursuing a relationship with Rachel. It's the only relationship he's focusing on. So he's putting it out to her like, I'm not cheating on you. And apparently, she's still doing the work. What is the work? I don't know. Is he helping her? Are they, watching some movies together? I just think it's like I'm just not for this relationship happening. I'm really not. But then there's this other part that's like, wouldn't this kind of be the beautiful story? Like if they get married, have kids, 35 years from now, they're still together. Won't they sort of be the success story for this horrible time in history where there was racial tensions, where families were torn apart politically, where all anyone talked about was racial inequality and social justice. And here this couple on The Bachelor fell in love, and then it was revealed that she at one time was very clueless about these things, and they broke up, but then they had to secretly see each other. Like the way interracial couples had to secretly see each other, like, in the 50s and 60s. They kind of had to, too, because of the backlash of everyone around them saying, you should get together. You shouldn't get together. He doesn't care about you. She's awful. What are you doing? You're a black man. What are you doing dating this girl that went to this Annabella party? If they end up together, I'm just saying, and I mean really together, like marriage for many years, this could be like an Oscar-winning movie 35 years from now that people will actually watch. Put that in my predictions. Okay. Justin Bieber, on the other hand, he got in trouble because he's wearing some very unattractive dreads. I don't think they're cute on him. I'm not against dreads, just his look really bad. Go to his Instagram. And people say it's cultural appropriation. They don't like it. I mean, I don't know. He likes it. Yell at me. Michael Jackson, who was black and then, isn't really black, didn't end up being black. He got so much plastic surgery and he changed the color of his skin and basically, turned into looking just not what he was. I'm thinking of a joke I used to say, but I don't think I can say it anymore. Peter's shaking his head. Anyway, rest in peace, but he is a pedophile. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you feel, we all saw the movie Leaving Neverland, and the judge has said again, this has been appealed a couple times. No, the victim that was featured in that documentary cannot sue the estate for the sexual abuse. And, Wade Robinson will not be able to sue the estate. So I find that kind of interesting. How do people really, I don't know how you feel about it. He is a dead man, and I always understood you can't sue a dead man. if you're abused in like a Catholic church or, an institution, that institution is still going on and they may have covered up. But this was one man that did this who is no longer on this earth. So I don't see why his heirs and other people would in any way be responsible for what happened when, 25 years ago. So let's see. I thought this was kind of interesting. Colton, also Bachelor news. As we know, he came out, controversy. I still don't know if that Netflix show is happening or not, but this tweet went a little bit viral. Bravo Andy's, this guy Matt Paisley goes, remember this headline from last year? Bravo Andy Cohen, Bachelor Coulter Underwood, test positive for coronavirus. So I was like, is this real? So then I Googled, and there were 12 articles that all had that same headline. And I really think when they wrote it, they knew that some celebrities were getting corona, but those were maybe those were the two biggest names. So they just threw that in the headline. Like when I describe the podcast, I have to come up with the title. So I'm always like, oh, what couple topics and a guest do I put in this short title? But of course, then other people picked it up. And I just think it's funny that it makes people wonder. Now, I'm sure there's some internet sleuths, you may be one of them, that can go back in a timeline and see, was there any time maybe 4 to 5 days before Andy Cohen had to cancel that last live Watch What Happens live show, where was he and where was Colton? Because now that, thank God, things are getting better in America for coronavirus, not everywhere, but in America, I have wondered why there has not been more. We all heard about these, marriage breakups because people couldn't stand being around each other. But what about where someone kind of discovered that their husband was cheating or their wife was cheating because of corona? Hear me out. Like maybe you're in a small town and it's been great because you guys are all getting careful and there's there's no cases. And then your husband who walks the dog, because there's nothing to do, he's gone for 2 to 3 hours with the dog. And the dog always comes back very well rested. And you're like, oh, the dog's still like hyper. I would have thought the dog would have been like tired by now because you've been walking for 2 hours. And so you're like, maybe the dog wasn't walking for 2 hours. Maybe my husband was seeing someone else. And then you find out your husband has COVID. And the only other person that has COVID is this other woman who lives a couple blocks away. And the 2 dogs know the truth, but nobody else does. Like if you guys have some juicy COVID cheating work, because of the contraction of COVID, you found out that 2 people were physically close that really shouldn't have been. I don't know. Would I love that Bravo Andy and Colton got together? Amazing. I don't think we'll ever know, but if anyone wants to do the juicy timeline, you'll probably find out they were in 2 different states when they contracted it. But still, fun discussion, right? This woman, she rented a video from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And she rented that video from like a Blockbuster. And she found out years later that it's a felony. It's been all these years. And she looks back and there were about 5 really great jobs that she interviewed for. And then at the last minute, they pulled their offer and she never knew why. And I guess they don't have to tell you why, but they did a background check. And when they did a background check on her, it showed up that they didn't say what it was, but it showed that there was some type of felony thing all over the Blockbuster video of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And here's the worst part. She never rented the movie. Her ex-husband did. Meghan McCain still looking horrific. I don't know what's going on with this hair. Now I just feel like she's teasing us. And this was a very juicy article in the LA Times about USC song girls. And I have a lot to share about this. I'm going to share more of it on Patreon. As you know, you go to heathermcdonald.net, you click on Patreon, you join, you change your life. I'm going to do an extra podcast also on the weekend, extra Patreon for one of the higher tiers. But I lived through this and I did not audition. I don't know that I would have made it, but they did say I had the hair. But at that time, they said, don't even bother because you're 5'9". And they wanted to keep them between like 5'4" and 5'7" was the top because it was a little bit of a shorter squad. The point is they always wanted to keep all of the girls looking very, like just very similar in their body makeup and everything. And it caused some of these girls a lot of stress, eating disorders, and it's all coming out as if SC hasn't gotten enough bad press. Here's some more, but it's a juicy article. I sent it to my sorority sisters. We talked about the song Girl We Knew and some of the stories we remember. And I believe everything they're saying. So you guys, now I'm very excited for our interview because it is Real Housewives of Dallas and it is Tiffany Moon. And she answered all of your questions. It's been a crazy year. You know, their reunion is coming. I just watched the finale where they were in Dallas at the actual house that's been like remade like a museum of shooting the show Dallas. And I thought that was pretty fun. But Brandy, they played one of those murder mystery parties and Brandy went rolling down the stairs and she did it pretty great. But after they finished filming, about a week after that scene was filmed, she went to the doctor on a normal checkup, and they found out she was 16 weeks pregnant. So the fact that she could do that really well is great. But now, I mean, we know the baby's been born. It's fine. But it's like, wow, that's pretty interesting. I want to hear them talk about that on the reunion this week. Also, she drank the entire filming time, and she drinks a lot. And she's a tiny person. And so people are talking about that. And then sadly enough, they're on the plane to go to New York to film the reunion in person. And Carrie gets COVID and Brandy was sitting next to her. So they made Brandy be quarantined as well for 10 days in New York, alone in a hotel room with a baby and 3 other kids at home. And she has horrible lighting. Peter's just beside himself. I don't know why they didn't bring her a ring light and leave it outside the door. I don't know if she just didn't care, but apparently she had to do her own makeup. And and then they just put the screen on the chair. It is just the worst. I feel for her. I'm excited to watch it. And then, of course, the worst thing happened was about a month ago, a video came out of her husband about a year and a half ago in Vegas, kind of dancing and looks to be kissing another woman. And Andy asks about it. So I was very excited to talk to Tiffany Moon about what it was like to be thrust into the limelight of this reality show while also being a doctor. She answers all the questions about her husband, how they met, lots of things revealed about her life that I had no clue about. So she's a delight. You will enjoy it. And here we go with Real Housewives of Dallas, Tiffany Moon. Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. I'm very excited to talk to the newest, most exciting housewife from Real Housewives of Dallas, Dr. Tiffany Moon. How are you? Good to see you again. You came to my show when I was in Dallas.
Yes, it's good to see you again, Heather. We had such an amazing time at your show. D'Angelo and I were like laughing so hard. I had to cross my legs at some point, make sure I didn't pee myself.
Well, thank you so much. I am glad that we're finally doing this. When I was in Dallas, my whole plan was to come and steal some stuff from your closet and do the podcast there and drink a bunch of your wine. But then it was just too busy of a weekend for both of us. So we'll have to plan that another time.
We'll have to plan it another time. And honestly, I just got off another work Zoom and the UPS man just came because we have a very intimate relationship with him dropping off packages at my house each day. And I just got these fabulous new shoes. And I was like, oh my God, I have to show Heather. They just came in. I pre-ordered them like 6 months ago.
What kind are they?
I have no idea. They're pink and sparkly.
Oh, is Cameron going to try to steal those? I don't think she'd fit in them, no offense, but.
Well, her size 11 feet ain't gonna fit in these, but she probably already owns a pair anyway. We have there's only so many things you can buy,
And especially in pink. Like, I think she
Exactly.
would definitely know the pink. Speaking of your closet, now, someone asked, what does she think her whole wardrobe and closet is worth? So I'm not going to ask you that way. I'm going to ask you a classier way. If something happened and everyone was out of the house and every pet and everybody was out of the house and the house unfortunately burned to the ground and you had to meet with your insurance guy, what would you say you lost in shoes and bags and clothes?
Well, we do have a very good homeowners insurance policy with a floater for my additional accessories and jewelry. So I will say roughly 3 million.
I was going to say I would guess that too, actually. So let's hope that never happens.
No,
but
please
that is pretty amazing.
don't come rob me. We have a very good security system and an armed guard. So
Do you
please
have a
don't
real
come and
wait?
rob
Do you have a
me.
real? You have a real 24-hour armed guard?
We hire an off-duty Dallas police officer who's a real Dallas police officer who I guess is moonlighting on his off time, and we just pay him through our company.
Wow, that's pretty hot. I kind of like that idea. Well, good for you. You know, I think that's great. I mean, if you, anything to make you feel safe and comfortable, and they're happy to do it and get that extra work, I think it's great. I think, unfortunately, more and more people are going to start doing that. How did you meet your husband? That's the main question, because I guess someone said they met at a nightclub. Is that true?
Yeah. Okay, so 2008, April, I was in my almost last year of medical school.
Sorry,
Someone just tried to call me.
Okay.
Just tried to call me.
Okay.
Let's start over.
Okay, go ahead.
2008, I think it was April or May, I was in my last month of medical school. So basically you have like senioritis because I had already matched at my residency program. I was about to get my MD in less than a month. So my girlfriends and I just went out drinking every night. And so on a random Thursday night at a bar/club in Dallas, which no longer exists, but it was called Suite, SUITE. On a Thursday night, I ran into Daniel Moon and his friend, and I was there with my best friend from medical school and then roommate, Michelle. And we were just, having fun, dancing, having some drinks. And actually his friend spilled my drink because it was a very, the girls dancing, people bumping into each other, obviously pre-COVID. And his friend bumped into me and spilled my drink. And I was like, hey, asshole, you just spilled my entire drink. And he said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Let's go to the bar and I'll buy you a new one. And I was like, oh, okay then. So he takes me to the bar. I follow him. And he was like, oh, what was your name again? And I said, I'm Tiffany. And he said, oh, this is my friend Daniel. And that's how I met Daniel Moon.
And did you have a moment when you saw his face, you were like, I think something is happening here? Or did you just think he was another guy? Did you have a moment I met my husband, or no?
No. Let's not lie. It was not love at first sight. It was he was very nice looking. And he was about to buy me a drink. And we had a very nice conversation. And you know how when you meet somebody in Dallas or elsewhere and you're like, oh, what do you do or whatever? And I was like, I'm a fourth year medical student. And he was like, oh, do you know so-and-so? And it's like, do you know? So they just mention a name and you're just supposed to know everyone that ever graduated from your university. You know what I mean? But the name that he mentioned was actually a friend anesthesiologist of mine. So the first name that he threw out that he was like, do you know so-and-so? I was like, oh yeah, I know him. I've worked with him in the operating room before. And he's like, no way, let me text him. So he texted our mutual friend and was like, I just met this girl named Tiffany Sun, because my name was Tiffany Sun before I married Daniel and became Tiffany Moon.
Oh my God, that's so cute. Did you ever want to name your daughters other planet names or anything?
Yes. Okay, so I got pregnant when I was 29.
Wait, I want to go back to just real quick about falling in love. Now, I was just made aware that your husband was married before.
Yes, he was married for a long time, and he and his wife separated when his children were like 2.
Oh, okay.
He has twin children from his previous marriage who are now 17.
And what are they?
Boy girl twins.
Oh, and so is he like the one? Is that twins in his family, or is it just coincidental? What is it?
Well, they had fertility treatments.
Oh, okay.
So I feel like twins are more common when you do those sorts of
Well,
things.
and also those are fraternals. Are yours identical or fraternal?
Yes. They're not. Mine are fraternal. My OB, I had really irregular periods growing up, and she says that she thinks that month that I ovulated like 1 egg from each side.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't, because the girls look so much alike. I wasn't sure if they were identical or not.
I know. People think that they're identical until you hang out a little bit with them, and then you're like, oh, I see subtle differences.
That's so funny. So then when you're like, we're having twins, he's like, okay, well, I don't know how to just watch one baby, so I guess this is fine.
Yeah, like I went to the OB for my 8-week ultrasound, and there were like 2 sacs with like 2 little fluttering heartbeats or something. And I texted a picture of it to my husband, and he wrote back, "You've got to be shitting me." And he was like, "I was looking forward to having one baby." And I was like, well, I'm having twins, ta-da. So yeah, I had spontaneous twin girls.
And do you think you're still very young? Do you think you want to have any more?
Oh no, I'm not. After the age of 35, the OBs call you advanced maternal age.
Right.
And so I am 36, and I do not wish to have that on my chart and be pregnant. I have 2 wonderful stepchildren who I've been in their life since they were 4 years old, and then my girls are 6. And I have, dogs and rabbits and fish and reptiles at my house. So I have all the love and caretaking that I need in my life.
I remember that too, because I was pregnant with my second one. I got pregnant at 34, but technically I would be giving birth at 35. And I was like, oh God, they're going to make me take all the extra tests and stuff, but it was all negative. So I didn't have to take the extra scarier tests. But I was kind of like, yeah, okay, I don't need to do this again. And then be that person. Yeah. But it's, it's great that the girls have each other. So you said you got married at 29. So how long were you guys dating for?
I got married when I was 28 and pregnant when I was 29.
Oh, you got knocked up quick.
Very, very fertile. We met in 2008 and got married in 2012. So we had been dating for a long time, but you know what? It was because we were long distance, because he was in Dallas and I was in San Francisco doing my anesthesia residency.
So where did you grow up as a child?
Well, I was born in Beijing, and then I moved to New York when I was 6, and then Texas when I was 10. So, and then I, did college in New York, medical school in Dallas, and residency in San Francisco. So I'm like all over the place.
But you never lived in the San Fernando Valley, but you have a Valley girl speak, and that's where I'm from. Yeah, I feel like you should have been my neighbor. I don't know how you got your Valley.
Like in my previous life, I was from San Fernando Valley and part of like a cool girls club. People are like, I hate her voice. It's so annoying. Like, why does she speak like that? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I hate it too. What would you like for me to do? Like, does anyone know a good vocal coach? Hashtag asking for a friend. Like, it's like when people are like, oh, I hate her face. I hate her voice. I'm like, what would you like for me to do about that? Because I'm not faking my voice. Like, this is how I speak. Well, you can't please people these days, Heather.
No, not when you become a housewife. No, but a lot of the juicy scoopers who listen to my show really like you a lot, and they definitely think you're gorgeous. So I have questions about that. What I saw that you just did a vampire facial recently.
Yes,
that scares the shit out of me.
Why?
I've had so many people try to offer it to me for free or whatever. I don't know. First of all, they take blood out of your body, right? And
yes,
I am someone
just like normal.
you would maybe appreciate this. I'm that person that has the really non-existent veins. So anytime I have to take blood or anything, it's like they bring in like 3 different nurses and they all try. And then on occasion, this grosses me out more than anything, they take like a veiny in my hand. And I just, so like, I never have done the, hungover IV thing. I just am like, I will avoid it for what it is, just because it's not a pleasant experience unless I have to actually get blood tests. So I don't think I want to do it, but I've heard really good things about it.
I mean, I can't do laser treatments because I have really hypersensitive, like Asian skin that hyperpigments. And so the vampire facial is like one of the only treatments that my skin tolerates. And it like gives you this glow. You sort of shed, you're really red that night. And then the next day you sort of shed like a reptile shedding its skin. And then the new skin underneath is like glowy and perfect. I mean, not that I think I'm glowy and perfect, but that shit works.
It is kind of satisfying the next day, as like all day long, just skin just falling off your body.
Yeah, like you're molting. It's kind of, I convinced my husband to go and get one because his face is looking raggedy lately. He's got like these skin spots and he never wears SPF. And then he goes in our backyard and goes swimming with the girls. And I keep telling him the number one, bad thing you can do to your skin is skin damage. And he just does not wear SPF. And so I convinced him to go to the place that I go to. So this Friday, he's going to kill me for saying this. He's getting a vampire facial.
We have to see that glowy face after. Now, what's the age difference between the two of you?
11 years.
Oh, okay. That's good. Someone asked that. I'm like, to me, he looks very young. So I didn't think there was more than 10 or less. I didn't really even think that there appeared to be much of an age difference. Not that that is. But.
Yeah. And I always date older guys. Like my first boyfriend was like 4 years older than me. And the guy that I was dating before my husband was 8 years older than me. Like I never dated men my own age because I just thought they were like immature,
Well, one thing interesting about you is that you were in that accelerated program. So you were actually finishing your junior and senior year as you were a freshman in college. Is that it?
Yes. I basically went to normal high school for freshman and sophomore years. And then after sophomore year of high school, I went to this college and lived in a dorm and took college classes, even though I was a junior in high school.
And
so
I
moved out of the.
Was that Cornell?
That was not at Cornell.
Oh, okay.
That was at a program in North Texas, in Denton, for 2 years, and then I went to Cornell.
Now you kind of mentioned that you did have these girlfriends. Good that you had these girlfriends to go get drunk and meet your husband at. But you kind of said, I really sort of missed that girlfriend friendship stuff when I was a child, which makes sense because if you're at a college at 15, I mean, that must have been difficult. Do you ever look back and maybe wish that you didn't do this accelerated program?
Yeah, it's like, we never have like a control for how our life could have been, I do have some regrets that I went so accelerated. I think I was like so focused on the finish line that I sort of didn't stop to like, enjoy the beautiful scenery around me. I never did like a semester abroad, which I really regret because my brother did a thing in London and he loved it. And like, people just take a semester abroad. And
I regret that too.
Yeah.
I wish I would have done the semester at sea in college and I didn't do it.
Yeah.
So
I'm
gonna do it this summer.
Late.
No, I'm gonna do it this. I said 2022. I just told my husband, I go, you know what? I've never been on like a full European trip. I've never taken any time off like that. I'm like, next year the kids will be old enough and I'm gonna plan like a freaking killer fabulous trip while I'm still young and I still look good in a bathing suit. Like I don't want to wait till I'm like, too old. But it's kind of hard because if you don't do it at that college age, then you're like in the 20s, you're either, doing your career or you don't have the money to do it right. So you're like, I don't want to be in some gross hostel. Then you're in the baby stage and you can't leave, or even elementary age. You can't really leave for like a month. So then you got to wait till you're my age and then hopefully you have some dollars and you can do it the way you want to do it, But
I
yeah, I
mean, I
agree.
think your age is perfect because the kids can actually be left alone for more
Yeah,
than, 2 weeks. Like, because right now I can't leave for more than like 3 days. Like, my
right.
kids, I will hear about it. They will call me and be like, what are you doing? When are you coming home? Like, all this stuff. So I think I've got about 10 more years
Yeah.
before I can go backpacking through Europe, but that's okay.
Yeah. And we kind of saw like when you talking about the girls that you did have the common struggles that we all have. I definitely have more time with my children now that they're teenagers and the last 5 6 years. But when I was working on Chelsea lately, I had a solid job that took me away from the home every day, which was great. But I mean, there'd be some nights when we were working late or something. I remember once with my younger son, I'm like, I haven't seen him in 3 days because he'd sleep a little late. I would leave early. And I was just like, and I had like a full breakdown. And my friend Sarah was like, I'll talk to them and I'll do the later shoot. And you can go like, so I think it's interesting to see you share that part of yourself. But now that you like have this whole other career, and as we know, as being a housewife, it's not just when you go and travel and drink, it's doing this podcast. It's, when we were in Dallas, you had a full photo shoot, and you do your TikToks. And I think it's all awesome what you're doing. But do you feel like, you're almost busier now, almost having these two
Right.
careers?
Yeah. I mean, people are like, so you complain about not having enough time with your children and working too much, and then you sign up for a reality TV show. Like, what's up with that? And I'm like, that is a very valid question. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm taking a leap of faith to do something else with my life and build a platform to have a voice, where I can help more than like 3 patients a day. Because when I go into the hospital, I love anesthesia. I still think it's the coolest thing in the world to put people to sleep for surgery and, wake them up. But I don't want to do that every day, 5 days a week, take call for the rest of my life. It's just, I feel like there is something better or greater in store for me. And honestly, I don't know what that is. But doing the show was taking like a leap of faith to get to that.
So when the opportunity arose, were you a fan of the show? Had you watched other franchises? Were you familiar with the girls from Dallas?
I had never watched any of the other franchises. I caught some episodes of Dallas, like seasons 1, 2, 3. I watched all of season 4, like with a notebook, like taking notes. And I have known all of the girls on the show peripherally, like because we've been in parties for charities. And I was at Deandra's 50th birthday party, and Stephanie's husband and I sit on the same board of a charity. So then we've been in the room of that charity gala. Like Dallas is small. Dallas is so small. Like everyone knows everyone by like 3 degrees of separation. So I definitely knew the girls peripherally, but none of them were like, I had never been to any of their homes except for Deandra's.
So when the opportunity came up and they said, okay, that's it. You decide to do the interviews. We kind of know the process. You decide to do the interviews and then they go, you know what, Tiffany, we want you to join. What apprehensive or if any did you have, and what was the reaction to the Moon family? We know your mom doesn't really watch and was like, whatever. But like, what did your in-laws and everyone think?
My in-laws kind of had the same reaction. They're so sweet. They're like 80 years old, and they basically were like, if this is something that you want to do, then we will support you. Which is basically what my parents said and what my husband said. Like I got everyone's blessing before I joined the show. Now, also they had never seen the show, so I don't think they knew exactly what I was getting into, nor did I really. But they've been very supportive.
So, you've had some fun times. We've got to see it. A lot of trips, obviously, because of COVID. I think they did a great job in still bringing us great entertainment. Obviously, there was, limited stuff of, you really kind of always just had to do stuff with each other. Like normally, if you were to have a party at one of your hotels, you would have had some more people there. But because of the COVID, you can't have anybody else there, So,
Yeah.
so what what was like what was like your favorite moment to watch back this season of yourself, and what was like your worst, like most cringy, like I wish I didn't do that?
That is a good question. There are so many for the latter. My favorite moment actually was my birthday party before I drank too much and sort of don't really remember the rest because it was beautiful. And I sort of feel like that's when I started really letting my guard down, and the women like saw that. And we sort of like, I feel like after that, it was over the hill for me in terms of having friendships with these women. And that was just a really fun party. Like the whole thing about Deandra like cussing her mom out, like I missed that whole thing live because I don't know where I was. I was like off in the corner dancing with snakes or something. I don't remember that happening until I watched it on TV. And then the most cringy moments, I mean, the rules when people came over to my house for the pizza party, like that, when I watched it back, I was like, oh, it doesn't look good, but at the time I was trying to like,
I kind of get it, but I kind of get at the time where you're just like, yeah, the party is from whatever, 6 to 10. But then I could see how it just became like this thing that I could see that with other friends if someone did that. How everyone's like, okay, I guess we have to get the fuck out of here. And you were just like, no, I'm just like letting you guys know.
Friends, yeah, I said 10:30. That was a very reasonable time. I had to work the next day. Like I was being very gracious, and I was sort of preempting that because you have to remember, like at Carrie's birthday party, which had happened like 2 weeks prior, her and Brandy stayed out until 4 a.m. drinking, and then FaceTimed me like at lunch the next day while I was in between cases in the operating room, and they were like, "Oh, we are so hungover. We stayed up till 4 last night," and I was like, "Oh my God." So I was sort of like preempting that my pizza party, like this is not going to be a stay up until 4 situation.
Right. You thought you were doing them like,
just was
like you thought you were maybe doing them a favor since they'd ripped it so hard the night before.
Yeah. Or you can let your, second batch of party people know when you're going to be meeting them out, or let your babysitter know what time, I like to tell my sitter, like I'll be home around 11. I mean, like your sitter has to sort of know what time you're coming. I was just setting expectations. I was not trying to be rude or unwelcoming or any of that stuff. And I feel like they really just took it the wrong way.
Yeah. Well, it seems like, we're watching it now and you guys are just in Dallas, which, by the way, at the house of the show Dallas, how in the 4 years or 5 years that this show has been on, how is this the first time that somebody thought, why don't we go to the actual house where Dallas was filmed? Because it's like a pretty great idea.
I mean, I think it's sort of like museum-like. I think they don't just like let whoever spend the night there. I mean, like Brandy had to like get some special clearance for us to go and film and spend the night. Like, I don't think like it's just, on Airbnb and you can just, spend the weekend there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see what else we have here. Okay, so someone said, please, Heather, talk to her about not getting such a big head and coming back and for season 2, because oftentimes, now you don't study housewives like I do, but oftentimes the breakout new star is very beloved and then they come back the second season and it's just not good. So
what do you mean? What do you mean not good?
They just, some people feel that then the girl comes back and her head is blown up from all the love from the fans, and then she can make some mistakes second season, and they just don't want that to happen to you. I mean, how is it that how do you feel about your sudden fame and people stopping you and everything? Do you love it? Is it weird?
Mean, it's weird. It's weird watching yourself, listening to yourself, like on podcasts. I'll hear myself and I'll be like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. And, oh, I hate my voice too. What would you like for me to do? I don't think that if I come back for a second season, which is still to be determined, that I'll think that I'm like the new breakout star or anything like that. Like it's just not my MO. Like I think the way you've seen me this season, sort of like making sure, is that okay, or let's do this, and I don't care if I need to, sleep on the couch or be in the room with Deandra, whose stuff has like exploded over 80% of the room. Like I don't care about that kind of stuff. People think I'm high maintenance, but actually I'm not. Like I get ready faster than my husband most days.
And what do your other doctors think about, that they see you actually being a full-blown doctor and then, they can see you on TV? Is it all good? Is it awkward?
It's a little awkward. I mean, a lot of the doctors that I work with are older Caucasian males and females that, they'd probably never even seen an episode of The Housewives, or maybe have some negative connotations that they associate with it. I was told by older mentors of mine who were telling me, because they care and, want me to have a good career, that they didn't think that I should do the show because it would be career suicide, and that no one would ever take me seriously as an anesthesiologist, that my clinical trials wouldn't get published, that I wouldn't be invited to national conferences to speak about my research. That they're like, all this work that you've done in your career, that you've worked your entire life for, it's all going to go down the trash if you do this Housewives show. And I was like, that's a little severe. And I was like, have you ever even seen it before? And they're like, well, no, I just hear terrible things about it. And I'm like, well, okay, first of all, like, give me a chance. And second of all, like, to this very day, I will sit here and say to you, I think I do damn good anesthesia. Like, I provide very good care to the patients who entrust me to care for them during surgery. And I will not be put down for being a housewife while also being an anesthesiologist, because I work incredibly hard. I teach medical students. I write book chapters. I'm still working on research projects. And I hate it when people like make you less of one because of another. Like, right. I will not stand for that.
Yeah, I think some people are like, why, or even the fact that you married a man who's wealthy. They're like, why is she working at all? Some people say that, why would you work at all? And then the other part is, well, why keep being the anesthesiologist when you can just have fun and be cute and sell some flat tummy tea and, and do your TikToks and not have this at all. And it's like, well, I think it's really cool that you still, and that you do really cherish that part of your life. Have you ever come to put someone to sleep and they do go, did I just see you last night on a show?
One person ever has recognized me. And she was like, I saw that you were going to be my anesthesiologist. And she was like, I'm really excited. I love you on the show. One person ever. But you have to remember, I work at Dallas County's public hospital. So a lot of my patients don't speak English, don't have homes, don't have cable. So it's not the people that I'm taking care of are not the people I think who are watching Housewives. And I love taking care of that demographic of patients because I think they are the most underserved. Like, I'm not at some surgery center all day doing like boobs and tummy tucks. Like, my patients have traumatic injuries and cancer and they don't have insurance. And, that's what I feel good about doing, is helping those people.
I think that's great. How do you have time to do all your TikToks?
Oh, TikTok. There's TikTok day is scheduled in advance, as are all the things in my life. And we batch them and shoot probably like 10 to 12 in one day and then push one out per day.
And
That's
did you find like a TikTok expert who's like, these are my ideas and this is what's trending. Let's do these 7 things?
No, I just watch it and I'm like, oh, that's cute. I should do that.
So you're the one that you're filming you're handing the phone to someone and then you're editing and putting it out?
Yeah.
I'm extremely impressed because I think I love TikTok, but
17-year-old stepdaughter.
Oh, so you do have someone. That's what I'm saying, because I love TikTok and I haven't really filmed anything in a while because I think it's sort of complicated. But I love watching it.
You have to get the timing right, and then you have to put captions right.
You need. Yes. You need somebody, I think. So, okay, well, good. That makes me feel a little bit better about myself. Do you think that your wine is ever going to become like a bigger thing?
Yes. So I have been working with a winemaker in California. I was supposed to fly to Napa, but didn't get a chance to. So we did a virtual tasting where I literally had like 20 stems in front of me. And he's like, okay, now taste this, now taste this. And I was like, after the sixth one, I was like, I don't even care anymore, like what they taste like. So I am coming out with one white wine, which is the Sauvignon Blanc, and one red proprietary blend. And then Daniel Moon has been making his Three Moons Cabernet since like 2009 was his first vintage or something like that. So I'm building the website right now, and we'll have 3 wines on there to sell just as soon as the TTB or whatever approves my license to sell and distribute alcohol.
And all the wine is from Napa?
Yes, it's all from Napa. It's good juice. It's not meant to be.
I love
like
Napa wines. Those are
and
the
it's
only
only going to be sold online. Like we're not going to give it to like the grocery store, Total Wine and More. It's like limited production, 2 barrels. And we're only going to sell it through our website. And I'm like, I really hope people buy this wine because I sort of just invested like a lot of money into it. And I was looking at my husband and I was like, I don't know if people are going to buy this. Like when you start a business, like how do you really know if people are going to buy it or not?
Well, I'll tell you how I'll tell you how they're going to buy it.
Okay,
you're going to invite me.
I'll just drink it.
No, you're going to invite me to Napa. And then I'm going to have a wonderful weekend drinking wine with you. And where do we stay when we go to Napa? Do you have a big fancy house there?
We don't. We just stay in one of the hotels.
Okay.
We stay at like Meadowood or one of those, nice resorts. And then we hire a driver to drive us around and go wine tasting at all the wineries. So yeah, let's do that. Want to come?
Yes. I want to come. I want to come. And if whatever we do, then I think you should do on camera next season with the girls. I think they definitely should go, and you guys should definitely do a Napa weekend with the Dallas girls. I think that'd be really fun.
I don't know about it next season, but if I come back for another season, I am demanding more fabulous trips because the 2 cast trips we went on, one was like driving ourselves to Oklahoma in this RV that looked like it was from 1994. And then the other one, at least we had a nice rock star tour bus, but we went to Austin. And, when Deandra was trying to convince me to be on the show, she was like, oh, it's fabulous. We went to Copenhagen, we went to Thailand, and I love to travel. Like I love to travel. I love to try new foods. I love to meet new people from different cultures and learn about, their traditions and stuff. And then the producers are like, and you guys are going to be going to Oklahoma. And I was like, this is not what I signed up for.
Well, that's why next year is going to be better. And hopefully you'll do some fun things.
Want to come back for a next year just to like
get the trips you deserve.
Get the trips that I deserve and not have it be COVID, because all I did was work at the hospital and then hang out with these women, work at the hospital and hang out with these women and my family. Like we weren't around other people. So I don't know, maybe I will come back for another season just because I feel like I got gypped of like the full Housewives experience.
Yes. I hear you. Someone said, what if they wanted to do a Married to Medicine Dallas edition? Would you ever head up your own reality show with other hot female doctors?
Sure. I mean, I don't know who the hell wants to watch me put people to sleep and like control blood pressure and heart rate.
Well, no, I think it would still be your life, but then you'd be surrounded by like a spinoff. But then you'd be surrounded by other female doctors or other women who are married to doctors, just like Married to Medicine.
Oh, yeah. I've already put that cast together. I mean, that's easy. I could definitely do that. How do we make that happen? I don't know how.
I don't know. I just put it out there. So now you're welcome.
Okay, let's do it.
They'll put it together. I think it would be fun. So was there anything, what surprised you the most about doing the show or your co-stars? Like, what was the thing that you were like, oh, I'm surprised? Or
the thing that I think caught me off guard was that we filmed for 3 months, in 2020, and then the show debuted in January of 2021. And you watch it on TV, and we only get to see it like 2 days before the public gets to see it. And you hear and see things that are being said about you or that you said to someone else that are a little cringy. Like, normally in normal life, you don't talk about things that happened 6 months ago with your girlfriends or overhear what they might have been saying about you at a party while you were there, but the cameras were on them, and you're like, oh, I thought that was a good party. I thought we were friends, but oh, I guess she was talking crap about me in the corner during that party. And so it's like you go through it and you're actually over the drama, but then when you see it on TV, like all the bad feelings come up again. It's like you have to relive the trauma. And I did not expect that. I was not prepared for that. So when the show started airing and there were some things that both I did and other people did, which I thought were a little cringy, I sort of, I don't know, went like on the offensive about them. And I probably, in retrospect, that was not such a smart decision.
And right now, some of the OGs, as they would say, are all in Turks and Caicos doing like an all-star thing. If you were asked to do that and you could choose, a handful of girls either on the show or not on the shows anymore, different cities, who do you think you'd have the best time with for, a week in a tropical locale with other classic housewives?
I mean, I don't know a lot of them, but I hear Leah is really fun from New York. I would invite like Lisa Rinna or Kyle Richards from Beverly Hills, just because I've really followed their fashion, not so much their housewives careers. Definitely Heather, Lisa, and Meredith and Jen, for the whole Salt Lake City crew, because they are just hilarious to me. I'm still like learning who the housewives are. I'm so sorry if I don't know who you are. I heard Teresa is a hoot. I don't even know. Like, I don't understand the premise of this All Stars thing. Like, I'm like, so all these housewives are going to Turks and Caicos for like a week, and then like, what are they supposed to talk about? Or they're going to be like, is it like Survivor?
I think what is fun, it's not Survivor. They're in like a super duper mansion. I used to ask my guests that a while ago, like, if you had to do a Survivor thing, which housewives would you want? And it'd be kind of funny because like Dorinda would say from New York, like, I'd want Ramona because she would like flirt with the guys and know who has a yacht that could come save us, like really kind of funny stuff like that. But no, they're in like a beautiful vacation spot, not in Oklahoma, and they're having like, a fabulous time. But I think throughout the years, they have had some contact with each other, whether it's like Andy's baby shower or doing Watch What Happens Live or a BravoCon. And, you get all these big egos because they're the biggest stars who have done this for the most amount of time, and you put them together. And I think it's going to be very entertaining. But of course, there's probably going to be some snarkiness and some talking behind each other's backs because they all think they're Queen Bee, which I think is going to make it kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like fun. I'm willing to watch it. If they asked me to go to Turks and Caicos, I would not turn that down. But also, I don't think I have this like notion that I'm Queen Bee and like everyone should listen to me. Like, I, for the most part, actually don't like to talk that much unless I'm being aggressed toward, and then I will attack back because I'm not a doormat. But actually, I don't like to start fights.
Yeah. I can see that. I wouldn't either. Yeah, it's kind of weird. And you were kind of saying like, that you didn't have these friendships growing up, but did you have a strong group of like mommy friends prior to the Housewives, or were you just so busy that you still didn't really have the adult female friends prior to joining the Housewives?
I mean, I have adult female friends, and there are moms that my kids like to play with. So then the moms end up talking and being friends. But to be honest, like, my life just consists of working at the hospital and hanging out with my kids and my husband, taking the occasional trip, and then lather, rinse, and repeat. Like, it sounds so mundane, but I honestly don't have a lot of time to do other things.
Yeah. So when you say like you wanted to do this with your platform and you're wearing your scrubs and you said it's your own scrub line. So like, are you making like scrubs for someone like me to wear?
This is created by my friend Wakar from his company, Live Scrubs. And
Oh,
he
okay.
said, Tiffany, would you be willing to do a collab with me? So I don't own these scrubs. He makes them, he ships them from his distribution place. I don't get paid for any of it. I just got a bunch of free scrubs. So I do these like collabs with people, but it's not really to like make money. It's more just to like have like, I have scrubs with my name on them, and I got to pick that they would be black with pink stitching. Like, it's just like something fun to do. And I think for the last 10 years, like all I've done is like medicine, that now I get to do these like creative things and TikToks and make other people laugh. I mean, you have to understand, like at my work, nobody talks to me all day. I talk to patients for like 5 or 10 minutes, like talk to them about their anesthesia and their past medical histories and any concerns they may have. And then they go to sleep for the next 4 hours. And I'm, watching their heart rate, blood pressure, giving them pain meds, all that kind of stuff. I love what I do. But like, no one talks to me all day. So when I come home,
what's the craziest thing
do stuff.
Yeah. And what's the craziest thing that a patient has ever said coming out of anesthesia that you've witnessed?
Oh, people say crazy things. They like tell confessions of like bad things that they've done, that they're like cheating on their spouse, that they killed someone. Like, I mean, people say crazy. They're so out of it. It's like dealing with a drunk person. Like they don't even know what they're saying because they just had a general anesthetic for 4 hours and they're like crazy. I was asked for my hand in marriage in the PACU. One of my patients was like, "Doctor, will you marry me?" And I was like, "Sir, I'm already married and you're high right now. Like, calm down." People say crazy things when they come out of anesthesia.
That's amazing. I'm so glad you got to do this interview. I know you have a lot to do. I love the scrubs. I might just want to start wearing scrubs so people think that I'm smart. Like, I don't know if you know the story of Dirty John, but he just walked around in scrubs all the time. And he lied and said he was an anesthesiologist.
Yes, I listened to that podcast and it was like that and Dr. Death. I like listened and just like could not stop listening because they like touched home for me because Dr. Death, like I know anesthesiologists that did operations with him back when he was like, paralyzing and killing people. And then Dr. Death was Dirty John.
Yes.
Is like he would pretend that he was being an anesthesiologist and like swindled this woman and then like tried to kill her daughter. Anyway, oops, spoiler alert.
Oh, everyone knows. Everyone knows about Dirty John.
Okay.
They can't be a juicy scooper without knowing about Dirty John.
Oh,
but
so
I'm always just obsessed because I'm like, I mean, I feel badly for the woman, but if someone says they're an anesthesiologist and they only have one outfit and it's scrubs, I think you should ask some questions.
That's me.
Yeah, you should have a few more outfits. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually not an anesthesiologist. It's all just been one big lie.
That would be amazing. We just find out like, what?
She's been faking all along? Where does she go at 6:30 in the morning?
Oh, yeah, because that was another thing that the Dirty John did. He would the girl put the tracker on the car and he would act like he's going to the hospital and then just like sit in a parking lot and eat Burger King.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Anyway, Tiffany, I was so great to talk to you again. I cannot wait for our Napa trip and drinking some of your wine and all of it. I look forward to watching the reunion. I think is tomorrow is tomorrow still another episode, right? And then next week is reunion.
Yep. It's going Tuesday the 28th. I don't know. Is the finale, series finale.
Okay.
And then I think after that, it's 2 episodes of reunion, which we went to New York to film. And as Carrie would say, that was the situation.
So I'm going to look forward to watching it. I was told you guys were told to dress like a tea party.
That was the instructions that we were given, is T-length dress, which to me means T-length. So like below the knee. But I don't know. I guess not everyone got the same instructions or decided not to listen to instructions. I don't
Did you
know.
follow the rules?
Oh, I always follow the rules. That's the problem. I need to learn to like occasionally not follow the rules.
Do you know T length is my worst style of dress for
It
my body because I'm tall, but I have like very small ankles. So like I was asked to be a bridesmaid with a T length dress, and I was horrified. I was going to do it, and then fortunately we got in a bad fight. We're friends to this day. But we kind of got in a bad fight. It took like 2 planes to get there. I was like broke in 25. And I was like, you know what? You've got like 8 other bridesmaids. I'm not going to do it. But I was so happy I didn't have to wear that T-length dress.
T-length is not flattering on anyone. Like, let's never choose that again. Like, unless you're 14 and going to like prom, like, let's not ever wear T-length again.
I do kind of feel like you guys as a franchise have gotten a little screwed over. So we're not next. I'm going to put out my suggestions next year for the reunion for Dallas. And it's
Okay.
going to be like long and black or something fabulous. Like black, white. I don't really know about white. White's a little challenging. I think like black or like, no, I got it. And they've never done it. Like somewhere in the midnight navy sapphire, somewhere in the blue range, because everyone looks good in blue.
Yeah, either like
And they haven't
like
really
somewhere
done that.
between royal to sapphire.
Yes.
That
And
that
everybody
color
do
range.
that. And then I
And
think that,
everyone long, like long gown.
yes,
It's reunion.
long with a big slit. So when you're sitting there, your legs
Yes.
look good, but you can kind of camouflage any little squirts of fat around the stomach with
Yes.
whatever's going on with the dress. And
Yes.
then, yes. And I also feel like Salt Lake City, they had a weird assignment. It was like rust and like, I
I
don't
don't know.
know.
Wasn't somebody trying to eat fake snow or something? That's all I heard. Somebody was trying to eat fake snow.
Mary, they go, we're going to snow and we're going to let it snow now to be like, have a cute moment at the end since it's Salt Lake City. And then she literally like forgot that she was like in a studio and was like you would if you were actually outside.
Oh, bless her heart.
Yeah, that was another
Oh.
thing though. You sometimes got shit for correcting people's grammar, or how they use certain vocabulary words. But I hear you. You're like, come on, like we're all seeing this. Can I just tell her that's not the way you say the word? I say wrong words all the time and mispronounce,
Yeah.
and I mispronounce stuff, and I love it when like a guest corrects me because I'm like, yes, please correct
Please
me
tell
because
me so I don't
yeah.
continue to sound like an idiot.
Or I
Like
may
I was
still
doing
continue
it
to do it, but
nicely.
correct it anyway.
Yeah, please, if I say something wrong, like please tell me. Because, I want to be correct. And my parents, came to America and worked really hard for me to speak English properly. So the least I could do is let you know when you're, using words incorrectly.
I love it. Tiffany, you're a total delight. You guys follow her on TikTok too because they're really fun. They're hilarious. They're well done. They're fashion driven. Your stepdaughter is good. So someone's
She's
probably going to try to poach her from you.
no. She's mine. Until she's 18 and leaves for college, no one else can have her.
Is she going in the fall?
Yeah, we're applying like the fall. She's going to be a senior.
Oh, wait, she's got it. So she's a junior now.
She's a junior now, but
Oh,
like
okay.
in August, she'll be senior year. So we've talked about what kind of schools she wants to go to. She wants to maybe end up on the West Coast. She's not an East Coast girl. She doesn't want anything to do with like Harvard, Yale, Cornell. No, she wants like UCLA, USC, like Pepperdine. Like all her schools are in Cali. So too bad Rick.
Again, I went to USC. Call me. We can have some fun dinners when you come out and give her a tour. And
Yes.
and it'll be more fun for you to come visit her if she's at Pepperdine or USC. than it would
That's
be.
true. I think USC is at the top of her list, so I might need a little, recommendation from
I-
from a well-known alum.
I'll
Wink,
do
wink.
all I can. I did do their women's conference, but you know how it is. You've seen the scandal. It's pretty much no way to get in anymore now.
Oh yeah,
except
well
just
she
be
doesn't
smart.
row, and we're not gonna pretend like she rows so we can get her in the side door. We don't do that kind of thing. Like she's gonna take her SAT again, is what she's gonna do.
Okay, good. Well, I'm sure she's very
Yeah.
smart and talented, so she does a great job for you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. Love you.
Thank
We'll be
you.
watching.
Thank you so much. You're hilarious. Thank you for just, I don't know, being a beacon of laughter in a otherwise very sad world sometimes.
Oh, well, thank you. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
Well, who is definitely going to be watching Real Housewives of Dallas reunion tonight? I know I am. I loved meeting Tiffany. And check out Patreon. Get more juice. Go right now to heathermcdonald.net and click on Patreon. Thank you.